And I'm delighted to welcome to the playground from the Truman Theatre Company, Mick, Donnellan and Cathal Leonard.
Hello.
Hello.
You're very welcome to the show. And if you don't know, they will be in the Galway Theatre Festival with Gunmetal Grey, which is the new play by Mick Donnellan. You might remember Mick from other such works as Sunday Morning Coming Down and Shortcut to Hallelujah. Mick, we had you on the show talking about Shortcut to Hallelujah, and you are back again. Look at you with your productivity. Yeah,
I know.
Absolutely. So, Gunmetal Grey, this is your sort of new piece, and can you tell us a little bit about it?
It's I wrote it during September. We just finished Shortcut to Hallelujah on the 3rd of September, and we had been accepted into the Galway Theatre Festival. There was a problem. We would have liked to use the play that we'd done already, but we weren't within the 6-month framework to put on a show in the festival, so we had to come up with something new. So we wrote Gunmetal Grey. We've been rehearsing it for the last month, since the beginning of October, and it's going well. Yeah, it's great. It's very similar sort of ideas that we've had before. It's along the same vein. There will be a temptation to call it a trilogy, because it's the third play of a similar type. There are the same actors and the same characters in the play, so there is some overlap, but that's just to kind of close up some of the stories that were left hanging in the other ones. But other than that, it stands on its own. You can watch it and you don't have to have seen the other ones. And we're enjoying it, yeah. It looks like it's going to be really funny. I think it's going to be very, very funny. We're just gone for comedy all the way with this one.
Good stuff. You were talking about there how you were kind of tidying up some of the loose ends of maybe some of the other plays. And was that the kind of inspiration behind this piece, or was there kind of another little story that was sort of loitering in the back of your mind that you wanted to tell?
I think, there was. It's almost as if in the other plays we had to be pretty ruthless. We had to cut out some things for time-wise and for practice-wise, for practicality reasons and that. And we didn't get a chance really to put them in because we were on the road a lot of the time. So we made the plays as best as we could. But as you're watching them, you're thinking to yourself, God, there's some other things that I would like to put in, other stories, other things the characters could have been doing. So this is all of those things put together, and there was no better place really to do that than the Galway Theatre Festival, because it's a little bit experimental, where we can exhibit what we do at Truman Theatre. It's more about an example of what we do. This is the kind of material we've been presenting all year, and come and see it and have a laugh,
Good stuff. I remember you were saying that with Shortcut to Hallelujah that you wanted to kind of explore a bit more stagecraft and things like that. Now with Gunmetal Grey, again, is it sort of quite traditionally realistic, or have you kind of written in a few surprises or anything? Obviously not give anything away, but...
No, like in the same sense that I wanted to try stagecraft with Shortcut to Hallelujah. I wanted to push our company and our cast a little further this time and just try out other avenues, such as we got in a director, Teresa Leahy is her name. I wanted to have a director direct my own work rather than me direct it myself. I wanted to see how it would be interpreted by somebody else on the outside. The other thing I wanted to do was to act myself with the cast so I could identify better with their experience on the stage. So I chose this play to do that. So we have a new director. She experiments a lot with music, a lot with nuance, style, psychological motivation, things that I wouldn't have necessarily concentrated on before. They would have been evident, but not as evident as in this case. And I'm going to act in it myself, so I want to see what that's like to work with the rest of the cast. So we're kind of using the theatre festival as a forum to both try out different things for ourselves and to exhibit what we do. So it's still a good show. It's still a very funny show, but at the same time, we're trying out things. We're not doing anything that we've been traditionally doing all year.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Galway Theatre Festival is a great forum for that, and it encourages that sort of that type of work. Just you were saying how you'd like the cast has kind of been pushed in a different way. We have Cathal Leonard here. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
And Cathal, what character do you play?
I play Paddy in this one, actually. I have played Chris Maguire in the previous two plays, Sunday Morning Coming Down and Shortcut to Hallelujah. But this time I've been switched over to Paddy, who is an altogether more sensitive individual than Chris Maguire, my previous character was.
Yeah.
So I've had to become a lot nicer, and kinder and more sensitive in this one.
Excellent. Can you talk us a little bit through the rehearsal process?
Well, we have a lady named Teresa Leahy who's directing this one, and a lot of the rehearsal with me in particular was to try and get me to be less of a tough redneck and more of a guy who cares about his actual girlfriend, you know, which was a rarity in itself in the previous plays.
Yeah.
So a lot of the rehearsal time has been spent getting that context right, because I act beside Chris Maguire in this one, who Mick is playing in this one, and we're going for a contrast of Chris being the gruff, rough around the edges type fella, and me being the quieter, more sensitive type. So a lot of the rehearsal time has been taken up getting that contrast right and not overdoing it either way. Yeah, you know, so that can take up time.
And that must have been interesting for you to sort of be playing against a character that you've played sort of twice before and things like that. Just even talking about character work for this one in particular, was there any kind of way that you felt to try and get into the sensitive mode?
I essentially had to try and think of somebody that my previous characters probably wouldn't really hang around with. Like the guy in school who there was nothing wrong with him. He was just one of the nice lads, you know.
But there's always the but.
You know, or he's nice enough, you know. You'd pick him for the soccer team, but you wouldn't pick him first, you know. But you'd have the crack with him all the same, you know. So
yes, and we all know those people, unfortunately, don't we? Mick, just to quickly talk to you about the writing process for this one. Now, I know you had kind of the other two plays behind you, so I mean, in a way, there was a lot of the kind of the background work done.
Yeah.
I mean, did that help you a bit, or was it still pretty tough going?
It was tough going. There was times where I had my head in my hands and I thought, Christ, we're not going to make a play at all here for the theatre festival. But that's always the case with writing, whether you have a week, 2 weeks, a month or 6 months to do it. You will hit those walls. So it's a matter of reaching a critical mass, really, as regards material, words, themes and conflict. And if you're supposed to put in the time, I mean, every play I think just takes a certain amount of time to crack, and I was lucky that this didn't take as much time to crack. So we got it done, we got it written, and we got it rehearsed. Some of the material was there. You never know, really. You just kind of hit a spot. Some days you just write a word, a line, a page maybe, and then other days you could have 10, 15 pages, and then you're home free. So it was good. It was a really good experience. Having the deadline of the festival was great, because it just forced me to put a lot more time and effort and try to be more disciplined with writing. So, on the other hand, obviously we've written it in a short space of time, so now that it is written, maybe I'd come back to it again in a few months and try to write a new act, maybe a new scene, fix up some of the themes and some of the dialogue. But no, it stands. I'm happy with it, and it's been good. I enjoyed it.
You're not directing this one. Teresa Leahy is directing this, and you know, it's kind of one of the big fears of sort of giving your work away. How was that for you? Are you okay? Safe space. You can talk about it here.
No, it was tough at the start. It was difficult because I literally had to hand over the script and walk out of the theatre, and that was hard to let go. No, the only thing was to be objective enough to know that I directed Teresa for the first 6 months of Truman Town this year with Sunday Morning Coming Down, and she was a brilliant woman to work with. She never objected to anything that I directed, and she always took direction very well, and she was very cooperative. So acting in this play myself, the least I could do was return the compliment and accept the director's vision rather than to object to it myself. So that was very important. It was hard to do emotionally. It was hard, but practically and professionally, it was, there was no question.
I think professionally is the key word there, isn't it?
You know, do it,
it is a job. Kind of, you
just respect the director, and no matter what she does, you do it, and you get through the day, and then it works out. You know.
Was there anything kind of just even during the rehearsal or directing process that sort of surprised you about the play that you hadn't considered while you were writing it or working on it?
There was. I went along some of the lines, like although I said that we're pushing the boundaries in some ways with the new director, and that one of the things that goes through the plays is that there are heightened moments of angry dialogue, arguments, drama, where people are really pouring themselves out and they're just being emotionally torn apart and completely exposed. That exists in the last two plays, and it's always very violent and very forceful. And somebody's always getting verbally or emotionally crushed in it. There's a similar scene in this play, but Teresa has directed it. It's between Cathal, who plays Paddy, and Jess, who plays Kate McCarthy. Jess, who's played by Kate McCarthy. And I would have gone for the typical sort of argument scene, very emotional, crushing, and very powerful sort of intensity, whereas Teresa has opted for a more emotional, beautiful, elegant sort of a scene where it is beautiful to look at. It's great to look at, and it's different. I would have never imagined it, and I don't think I could have got that out of Cathal and Jess or Cathal and Kate, knowing them so well and having worked with them so closely. But we would have possibly been too close to get what Teresa has got out of it. So, she's brought something new to it. So I'm interested to see what the audience think of it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see it. It sounds great. Sounds like it's going to be a good one. And again, that's Gunmetal Grey, which is written by Mick Donnellan, and that's running in the Galway Theatre Festival, which is running this week from the 25th to the 31st of October.